Hello everyone, welcome to the orientation video. This video spans English 85 and English 95. So currently we're looking at the English 95 online course, but this will apply to all of the other courses as well. I'm just going to do a general overview of how the Moodle site works, how the assignments work, and where to go to find more information. So first, this is our Moodle page. There's not a whole lot on here. What you're most interested in really is the center column here, because these are broken up into your modules. So let's take a look at one module here. This is a typical module, and within the module you'll see three different sections: the essay, improving vocabulary, or if you're in English 85 this will be building vocabulary, and reading comprehension. And so basically this is standard for each of the modules. We have 8 total modules. Each module lasts 2 weeks. And so let's take a look at the essay first. To begin with the essay, you would first click on the assignment guidelines, which shows you exactly how to write the essay and what I'm looking for, what type of essay it is, how to set it up. It gives you some ideas. So you'll want to visit this first. And then we use Turnitin inside of Moodle. You don't need to log in to Turnitin or anything like that. This is all within Moodle to submit the parts of the essay. So let's take a look at this really quick. We have 4 parts of the essay that we submit total. The essay itself overall is worth 100 points. We get to those 100 points because we have 3 things that are worth 10 points, and then the final draft, which is 70 points. Each essay, we write 4 essays, is worth 10% of your final grade. So it's extremely important that we get the essays done. The 4 parts that it's broken down into is, the first part is outline, which in order to complete the outline, you can look at the example that I have here under important course documents. Here's an example of how to complete it. Basically, it's an outline of your paper. What's your thesis? What are your topic sentences? Then there's the first draft. This is the full-blown first draft that you need to submit that's completed. I should mention also, when you do submit the outline, I provide feedback on your outline so that you're on the right track before you go and write the full first draft. Once you submit the first draft, that's also worth 10 points if it's complete. Then you do something called a self-review. The self-review is also under important course documents here. It's a sort of questionnaire, and we can look at it real quick here. It's just a bunch of questions that I want you to ask yourself about your own paper. And these questions are laid out. The reason I give you this example is because to do the questionnaire, you need to set up your paper in the same fashion as this. In other words, in MLA format. This is the MLA heading, your last name and page number, and then you can just answer these questions like, number 1, yes, my paper's in correct MLA format. Number 2, what do you really like, and so on. Notice that the last question asks you basically to predict what you're going to get on this final draft grade, because at this point you've already gotten my feedback, you've been through a couple of drafts, and now you're sort of reviewing this on your own, and I'm giving you the final draft rubric that I use to grade you on each of the things. So what do you think that you're going to get, right? So that's an important question. Anyways, this is the self-review, and you create a document just like that, and then you submit it and Turnitin for the self-review. Lastly, there's the final draft. And so you can see over here that you have start date and due dates. The due date is obviously the most important thing. The due dates are when the paper needs to be submitted. And in order to submit the papers, you go to the My Submissions tab, and you just give it a title and upload your file. I know that that was a lot of information right there, and you probably just glossed over all of that, so At the bottom of our page, I have some videos that I'll keep adding to, but this video right here actually walks you through how to submit all of the stuff for the essays that we do and Turnitin. So that's the Turnitin, or I'm sorry, the essay section. The vocabulary section is a little bit different. And whether you're in English 85 or English 95, it doesn't really matter. It's a different book, but the quiz works the same way. Notice that you get 2 attempts. The reason for this is because some people mess up on the first attempt. They did the wrong section in the book, and so they need that second attempt to correct it. But you can also use the second attempt. If you only get 8 out of 10, you can use the second attempt to try and get 10 out of 10. It'll take the highest score. So here is how you do the quiz. And this explains here, and this will make more sense also when you look at your book. But to take the vocabulary quizzes, you'll notice that it looks just like this. In your book, it's a workbook, the first section is called 10 words in context. And it gives you a couple of sentences, and it uses the word, and then it gives you 3 definitions, A, B, or C. Your job is to figure out what the meaning of that word is by looking at the sentence and then using A, B, or C, choosing one of those as the definition. So there are 10 of those. That's always the first section. The first section is always called 10 words in context. Now notice question 11 is a little bit different, and this comes from a different section. This is very important because people seem to mess this up. These questions, these 10 questions, come from the last section in each chapter. The section at the end of the chapter is called Final Check. It's a paragraph. It's a fill-in-the-blank paragraph. So you've got a bunch of words you can choose from to fill in the blanks. Again, if you're looking at the workbook, this makes much more sense. But that's how you do each of the quizzes. It's kind of nice because you can work ahead in those chapters, and then as the modules open, we do 2 chapters per module. As the modules open, you can just plug in your answers. So I think that a lot of students like to do it that way. Now, down in the reading comprehension section, we have some pretty standard things here. Again, I'm looking in English 95 course. So English 95 reads a book called Freakonomics. English 85, you're reading a different book, but it works the same way. So this will still apply to everyone. Let's take a look at this. You'll need to read the assigned chapters in the novel. So in this chapter, this is what I want you to do. You're doing a summary of each chapter. So you'll need to open up a new Word document and start a new document and basically just give a big summary that's 500 words, which sounds like a lot, but it's not really given the length of these chapters. So you should try to be somewhat grammatically correct. I mean, definitely try to be correct there, but you really want to get to 500 words. MLA format, this is just like that document that I just showed you with the header and the page number. That's MLA format. And this is the big thing. This is how you really get the points for these summary checkpoints. You need to cite at least 3 things from the text. So a big part of reading the text isn't just being able to summarize what you read in your own words, but being able to pull things out of the text directly and quote them. So, for example, there are really 2 common ways to cite from a text. These are the 2 ways. The first way is called author named in parentheses. The second way is called author named in a signal phrase. And you can see here, these are examples of both ways. See, I'm quoting something directly from the book, but what you need to do after that is, in the case of Freakonomics, the authors' names are Levitt and Dubner. So in parentheses, you put Levitt and Dubner, and then the page where you got this quote, right? So that's the first way that you can do it. The second way you can do it is you can start off the sentence by saying the authors' names. Levitt and Dubner argue that, quote, okay, and then in parentheses, you put the page where you get that quote. So again, sounds like a lot, but if you just test it out, you try it out, you'll find that it's pretty easy to do. And again, we do this for each of the chapters that are assigned to you. English 85 students, your novel is a little bit different. You may have more than one chapter to read because the chapters are a little shorter. So that's how it works. But again, same way, to submit your work, you just give it a title and then choose the document that you just typed up your summary in and add submission. So that is the reading comprehension part there. We also have 2 quizzes that may or may not be there. Some modules are there, some modules they're not there. It just depends on the workload that we have going on. Sometimes if we have a lot of stuff going on in that module, then I'll give you a break and kind of stay away from these. The reason that these are in here are to prepare you for the Compass test, which is at the end of the semester, and it's essentially the placement reading comprehension test that you've taken. Then we have a short story for each of the modules. In this case, the first module short story is called A Perfect Day for Banana Fish. And again, I'm not going to go through all how to do all of this, but essentially you read the PDF and you do what's called annotating. So you annotate the PDF while you read. In other words, you just highlight and make comments on it while you read, and then you submit that PDF in here. So I have an entire video that shows you how to do all of that right there in the essence of saving time. So you can watch that video and it shows you exactly how to do it. So that, as fast as I blew through that, that is a typical module, and that's all there is in the modules. So a lot of information there, but it's all there. We do have this section called Important Course Documents, and you'll find a couple of things in here that are kind of useful. I mentioned MLA format a couple of times. There's an example of a good essay. Here's an example for the outline that we do in the self-review. So these are all in here. I try to give you examples and models of how to do things rather than just tell you to do something. Importantly, this is the enrollment assignment quiz. And while it doesn't count for anything in your grade, it counts as a form of sort of attendance. And you must complete this. I can't stress this enough. This has to be completed as soon as possible, as soon as the course starts. You actually have until the census date to take it, but I wouldn't wait, because what happens is if you don't take it, then you could be dropped from the course and be marked as a no-show, and then have to pay for the course anyways. So please take that quiz. A couple other things. There's a course calendar here. This is very, very, very important. Can't stress enough how important this is, because in this calendar, I have all of the due dates for all of the stuff that we do. I haven't quite finished these calendars yet, but everything's in here that you need to know. So if there's any ever question of when is this due, or how do I submit it, and when does it need to be submitted, check the calendar, because that's my main source of due dates and assignments. So please check the calendar. Again, to get there, you just click on this. Below that is a link to your student email. So in order to communicate with me, you really need to use your student email, and to sign in to that, you can click on that. It'll take you to BCC's sign-in page. Okay, syllabus, real quick. I want you to read this on your own time because it does have a lot of important information in here, but I wanted to go through a few things with you. So my office hours are listed here. I'm always open to meeting with you. We can also meet virtually if you'd rather do that, if you're not able to get to campus. Here's my email address. Here's my location on campus. And let's scroll down to the grade. So I mentioned basically everything in here, the short stories, those checkpoints for the chapters of the novel, vocabulary chapters. We do 4 essays. And then at the very end of the semester, we do something called a writing portfolio, which is just a collection of those 4 essays that you already wrote. And we retake the Compass exam. These are very, very, very important scores. Think of these as basically the final exam. English 95 students, you want to get an 81 or higher on the test. English 85 students, you need to get a 63 or higher to move on. I should also mention too at the very beginning here the required materials. Make sure you check that and get the books. Yes, you do need these books. You need all of the books. You need the textbook, vocabulary book, the novel. Moodle you obviously have access to. And you're going to need this piece of software called Adobe Reader. Make sure that you have the latest version, because this is how you do those short stories. It's free. It's not going to harm your computer. You can go to this link and download it for free. Okay, a couple of the policies. Let me just go over. Please read the academic honesty policy. Note that for academic honesty, you should not resubmit any essays. That includes recycling essays from other courses or previous courses or even previous schools. You shouldn't do that. Late work policy, I don't really do late work. I don't accept it. And that's just because we have so much work to do and it's difficult to keep up with everyone when that happens. So if there is going to be a problem, you have to be proactive and contact me beforehand and I'll work with you. We can work something out. But if the due date has already passed, then you're unable to submit that late work. Read over your attendance policy online. Obviously, your attendance policy is a little different than the seated courses. Seated courses, you really need to look through this because you only get a certain amount of absences, 6, and lates, which count as half absences before you're dropped from the course. So read through that. Miscellaneous things here, you can just also read through this. I wanted to stress a few of these points. Here's the course calendar. There aren't specific due dates, but this is all what we're covering in this time frame, in this module. This is what we cover. For the specific due dates, you should consult the course calendar. This final page gives you another explanation of how we go through that writing process. So what is that essay process like? The first step is this, then this happens, then you do this, then this, and so on. Again, here's that link to a video that shows you how to do all of that stuff. So you should have a lot of resources available for you to be able to figure out how the course works. I do recognize that it is a lot to take in, especially if this is your first course at BCC or with Moodle. It is a lot to take in, but I assure you that it is very doable. And after the first 2 weeks or so, or even the first module, you'll start to get it, and it'll be no problem for you. I promise you. If it is a problem, of course, contact me and come see me in my office. I'm always here to help you. So I wish you the best of luck during the semester, and I'm really looking forward to working with you. So contact me with any questions. Thank you very much. Bye.